Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the iRacing Israel League. It is the start of a new season. It is season 13, and we start in one of the most fantastic places you can physically start a championship. Is the Sebring International Raceway, 5.79 kilometers of a lot of bumps. However, it's a fantastic racetrack. I'm Tom Dillon, and alongside me is Avery McDonald. Avery, welcome to the broadcast. The Israel League last season gave us some fantastic action. Only finished actually a couple of weeks ago, but we're back in due course, and this time we have got a mixture of GT3 and GT4 cars. Perhaps a little bit more conventional multi-class racing will lead to some lapped cars and things like that we perhaps didn't get last season, and I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, it's always great to come back to a new season, especially with this group of drivers. I was tuning in all last season and just excited to be here in the booth, but we go to Sebring International Raceway. Such an iconic track host of the 12 Hours of Sebring. When you bring these GT3s and the GT4 cars here, just really interesting to see how they handled the bumps, because you could be in control of your car and then you could hit a bump and then be out of control and trying to save the car. So we're really going to have to look and see how these drivers handle this treacherous racetrack.
Yeah, it always feels Sunset Bend. I would say there's only one line through there, or there isn't a line through there. You should say you can never seem to get Sunset Bend right, and I'm sure these drivers are going to find that one out today. Here we are then in the qualifying session, and we're having a look at Yossi Gabe heading down to Sunset Bend in the number 17 car. And so, for those who aren't aware, maybe missed my my call in the intro, we have got two classes once again this season. We've got our pro and amateur class. Our pros are driving this, the BMW GT3, and our amateurs are driving the BMW GT4. So a mixture on the grid, and Yossi Gabe is going to cross the line to start his qualifying attempts here this evening. In fact, he's going to get a lap time on the board in his qualifying attempts this evening. It's not going to be quite as fast as Alon Day, who stands at the top of the order. In fact, it's going to be pretty slow. Yossi Gabe, all things considered. Here is Alon Day, your champion of the previous season, pulling over to the side of the road. He's only 1/100th of a second ahead of Reem Gossett in second position. And Avery, these guys pushed each other pretty much to the end last season. It was all about how those drop rounds played a factor into it. Obviously, Alon Day coming out on top, eventually four-time Euro NASCAR champion. However, Reem Gossett has got all the potential to push him this time around.
Oh, absolutely. Every race is important. I mean, yeah, you have the drop weeks, but you have to be perfect if you want to win a champion, especially in the series. Those little mistakes when you lose a couple spots, or if you wreck the car, That's very costly. So you just have to be completely focused. You need to be completely set into the car and just try to make as many perfect laps as you can. It's okay to make some small mistakes, but if you want to win a championship, you have to be perfect.
Absolutely, have to be perfect. I believe the drop round is enforced once again this season, so you can afford to have one round that perhaps isn't the greatest. Would also recommend, I'm sure the league wouldn't like me to recommend, but personally, from my experience racing in championships with drop rounds, actually missing a round can be your best friend there as you go into the latter stages of the season. Obviously, it's less fun that way, but it's a way to look at things. We're having a look at Gilad Hashika. He's making his way through into the hairpin right now, the hairpin of turn 7. And he'll make his way up through into Sector 2 and Sector 3 of this racetrack. Top of the GT4 classification at the moment. Yehuda Ben Yosef heading his way up into turn 15 and turn 16. We'll see what he can do this season, still in the amateur category. We had a couple of people jump up. Actually, I'll get the names of people who have made their way into the pros in a moment as Reem Goss jumps to the top of the order. A minute and a half to go in this qualifying session. Yaron has jumped ahead of Lerman as well. Mark Zubrev, he's in a GT3 this season as well. Pretty sure he was down in the amateur class last season. He jumps up to the pros. And I have to say, Avery, we got a bit of a battle for pole position. Reem Goss currently on the top of it with a minute to go. Who's your pick?
Oh, I mean, well, my pick for the pro class, it's over. It's going to be gross, but then I just don't think anyone's going to knock off the leader in the GT4 position. Just that's such a really good lap, and you can't. I mean, when I was driving around this track, I would have qualified P10 in the amateur division by a couple seconds slower. But yeah, my pick for the pole. I don't think anybody's knocking off any of the leaders.
On board first, on board shot of the season. It's a name that I haven't seen in this series before in the season that I've covered. It's Soren Kader. So he's heading his way down the final straight, the Ultimate straight, into Sunset Bend. And well, we've picked the right time to race around this track as we go into Sunset Bend. You can see the sunset just over the horizon. Pick out your braking point on the left-hand side. You want braking almost as you throw the car in, and then just get it set up for the proper right-hander. Never a line through here. I mean, there's a little bit of rubber on what's supposed to be the line, all the way up to the wall on the left-hand side, and then Soren Kader will cross the line to what should be his final lap of the day. By the looks of things, he hasn't quite been able to get it in, so there we go. That's your qualifying results completed. Overall, a pretty close session, Avery, as we have the grid.
Oh yeah, super close session. A lot of the drivers are, super close. The one thing to remember here at Sebring for the race is a lot of these drivers are going to be able to be in the tow on some of the long straightaways. So qualifying is super important. But with such a long track, you can make up some time throughout the race as you still learn to track a little bit more.
So row 1 is Reem Goss and Alon Day, Yuval Marek and Nadav Yaron on row 2. Daniel Lerman and Arnon Levy make up row 3. Tal Stern and Jossi Gabay row 4. Amir Meshalam is on row 5. Alongside pro class debutant Mark Zubrev, it's Aviv Cohen and Gilad Hashika, your first GT4 cars, on row 6, with Ofer Mazuz and Yarin Levy on row 7. Then it's Benny Surek and Yehuda Ben Yosef row 8, Bertie Gali and Idan Sher on row 9. Ivo Fasinov and Oren Kader make up the top 20. Poor qualifying, no lap time set for Aviad Yarmakuv and Asav Yaron, who will start on the 11th and final row. I think you would be perhaps misguided not to suggest that Alon Day is going to have a chance to win this race, Avery, but he's got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a really good shot to win this, but anything is possible, and yeah, any driver can, make some moves, especially here at Sebring with the start of the racetrack being super wide. And then when you funnel into turn number 1, it gets super tight. So you got to get through the first lap if you want to, be available to win at the end. Like they say, to finish first, you must first finish.
Well, absolutely. That's how we do it. A Michael Schumacher quote for you as we go through Sunset Bend. This will be the first start of the season. Reem Goss on the pole. Alante will be alongside him as we go down into turn 1. Safety car coming into the pits, and we're away very early indeed. It's a fantastically early start for Reem Gross, who is going to lead us into turn 1. 3 wide just behind between Marek, Yaron and Lerman as we go through into turn 1 on the inside line. Can't quite suss out who's got through in the sunset conditions here, but it's very, very close and very, very tasty indeed. So it's Reem Gross who leads off of turn 1, now down the inside. You can see here goes the number 22. He's going to try and hold it again down the inside, hold himself in 3rd position, or he's trying to get himself into 4th, I should say. It's Yaron Marek just ahead. He occupies 3rd position, so Yaron is able to get through into 4th. Daniel Lerman trying to come back to him as we go down into the hairpin of turn 7 for the first time in this race. 20 minutes heat, 2 20-minute races ahead of us this evening, and Yaron looks like he's going to defend pretty well into their hairpin. That is a very fiery start.
Yeah, very clean start here at Sebring. It's always treacherous as you go into turn number 1, but they were able to stay clear. Day just in the toe there, but yeah, single file all the way through. Good start for the GT3s and a good start for the GT4s.
Jacob Bay having a look at him as we go to a replay to have a look at what happened off the start. This is your GT4 start, and it's the number 73 down into turn 1. Sends a dive from an absolute mile back. He was all the way in the East Coast on that one and goes right into the wall. That's a very, very awkward moment. I think the car on the outside there just got a little bit of an oversteer moment on perhaps a bump. It's not particularly difficult to hit a bump here at Sebring, and that was enough to send him round.
Yeah, this track is so treacherous. When you just going down the track, feeling nice and smooth, got control of the car, then you hit the bump like we've seen in turn 1. So anything can happen. You can funnel from 1st to 5th in a moment of time.
Here's Ofer Mazouz. He's got his work cut out to try and get himself up into 4th position inside of your GT4 classification. He's going to look to the outside as we go into Sunset Bend. He's got a long, long run. These GT4 cars aren't particularly fast as they go down into that corner, and Ofer Mazouz in the end has to take a bit of a wide line, and I think duck out of that battle for the time being. It's Cher that's just ahead of him. And he's going to try and get a run here out of Sunset and down into turn 1, but I think Ofer Mazouz might have had his chance here. It may have come and gone. Here he stays in 5th position, only 3 tenths per second at the lead of the race. 1.8 though, as Cohen flies away in the lead of this GT4 race. Here he is in that number 34. Got a few car levs, and that is a fantastic start, an ideal start for him.
Yeah, very good start for him with that 3-second gap. Is when you have that gap built up, now you're just trying to maintain the gap. You don't need to try to just keep pushing and force yourself into mistakes. So just maintain the gap, but back up to the GT3s. It's a really good battle here for 3rd. It's 4 cars for 3rd, but if you keep trying to make some overtakes here, the lead cars are just going to pull away.
As Marek is holding on pretty well to this 3rd position at the moment. However, Daniel Lerman is all over the back of him, and of course, Nadav Yaron in the background trying to pick up what he can of this, and there goes Lerman getting a bit of a run through the corner, and now tries to get the better exit. He does. He's going to be around the outside as we head up into the final sequence of corners here at Sebring. Around the outside he stays. It's so close between the two of them. Up into 15 and 16 they go. Onto the grass there on the right hand side is Marek. And I think Daniel Lerman has just about got himself up into 3rd position. So there you go. As we go through the Le Mans corner right now, it's Daniel Lerman who pulls a couple of car levers. Is there going to be a counter-attack though here from Yuval Marek as we go through into turn 18, turn 17, Sunset Bend, I should say. Is there going to be a dive into that corner? I don't think there is. They say line of stern. However, Yuval Marek is all over the back of Daniel Lerman trying to find this 3rd spot once again.
I like to point out there, very good racecraft by Marek there. I mean, he could have battled side by side into there, but knew that that point of the track is you just got to funnel in and get back in line. So very good racecraft by him.
Back on the outside this time is he's going to be Yaron trying to get himself up into 4th position. He's going to go for a little bit of switchback here out of turn 1. A James Baldwin style move. If you've been keeping up with the Le Mans Virtual Series last year, he did that exact same thing to Max Verstappen. This time it's not quite successful for Nadav Yaron, and he has to say behind. However, there's a half spin, almost a massive moment. It is a spin, and it's going to end rather nastily into the distance. Goes Nadav Yaron. Yuval Marek is going to lose his rear splitter, and that is going to cost him. We've got a replay of what happened. I believe he lost the car mid-corner and then ended up getting tapped round. that's exactly what happened. Oh, he got a bit of a luff tap on the way through as well. So that was, well, first major incident of the season.
Yeah, just kind of got in the corner a little bit hot there, a little bit wide on entrance, and looped it around. But it's not over for him because, you know, you got what 16 minutes to go, and anything can happen. One thing I want to point out, they do invert the top 8, so he's got to make some moves to get up to start 8th.
And now down the inside goes Benny Sorek. He's not quite able to find a way through, and well, stays in 6th position in the GT4s. It's Yaron just ahead of him, and it's a replay of some drama that happened in our GT4. Zidane Shet was looking around the outside, or did he get a defensive on in the number 2? And oh dear, that was just a bit of a moment, wasn't it? He seemed to, maybe he was on the brakes for too long. I'm not sure, Avery.
I think he realized that it was either wreck the car or go on the brakes. So I think he chose wisely to get on the brakes, and you know, we're not even to the halfway point yet, so still a good opportunity to try to catch back up and make the pass. Back up though to the battle for the 3rd position. It was going to be 3 wide, but it's 2 wide going into turn number 1. So there we go. You able to straighten out a little bit. So this is, I tell you what, Tom, this battle for the 3rd position has been going on since the beginning, and I think it's going to go on till exactly the end of the race.
Johan Yaron is doing well for his 4th at the moment. However, he's 5 seconds now down on Daniel Lerman, who was absolutely flown away from these guys, to the point that doesn't even look right on the timing screen. It's Tal Stern just behind him, and then Meshulam behind them both. And Nadav Yaron is driving well. You probably fancy his chances here at least holding on to this. Remember, we do reverse the grid as we go into race 2. I'm not sure how that's going to run this year, actually, whether it's going to be a case of top 8 still gets reversed, and if that just leaves the GC4s to get on with their life. I'm not too sure. We'll wait and see, as this time this is a battle between Gilad Hashika and Ofer Mazuz, I believe, or is it Vasinov? It is. And well, Gilad Hashika is going to get past. In fact, he gets passed by Ofer Mazuz, indeed. So there we go. He loses out on that spot. 7th position goes Ofer Mazuz. Ben Yosef, he's got himself into 2nd position. However, is Levy back around the outside. So Levy will get into 2nd. Ben Yosef trying to find a way back through. However, loses a couple of car lengths, and that is enough to allow Arno Levy to go through into 2nd position. We've got a replay of what happened, Avery.
Yeah, we take a look at the replay here, and did not want to run the car over in front of him, and just a little bit of contact. Cars are hopefully still okay, but that's where you got to be very careful when you're following that close behind somebody, because if they brake a little bit earlier than you anticipated, that's when the contact gets made and go off the track. But still battling for 2nd here. So as we look behind, and just we'll see if we learn from that spot on the track to see if they can make another move around them. So yeah, you always got to be cautious when you're that close to somebody.
And at the end of the day, there isn't actually too much going on with it. They carry on and they continue battling. So all's fair in love and war, as they say. Ben Yosef will try and get, perhaps I thought he would have a look to the inside there. Now he'll have a look to the inside through Sunset. He gets a fantastic overspeed on the inside line. Not in overspeed enough though. Will he in the 2nd phase of the corner get that exit? It looks like he will get an exit, and now Ben Yosef has got to run as we run up into turn 1 over the bumps of the start-finish straight. This place, an old airfield, has not been resurfaced since the 1940s, if memory serves me correctly. Not memory of the 1940s, of course. I'm a little bit too young for that. But anyway, memory of reading about the place. And it looks like Levy, regardless, is going to hold on to that 2nd position. But Ben Yosef has got a fair bit of pace in that BMW GT4.
Oh, absolutely. It has a lot of pace. I mean, we can't really go with the last lap, but take a look at the best lap. It's about a half a second quicker. So this is at the point of the race as we almost get to the halfway point. Oh, big send. And we'll see. This is where they had the wreck earlier and able to get around them there up into 2nd place as Youssef. So really good run to make the overtake. Knew that was an opportunity from before, from when levee broke a little earlier last time, so that's the biggest thing. Oh, off the track is Uran, and it goes into the wall very slightly, but we'll see if he gets back going.
I think that was suspension, the way he
Oh,
went off
yep.
there. You know, Avery, it looked certainly like he's ruined that suspension on driver's right. Has he got any damage is the question, though. As he comes out of the corner, he's already right there, looking very squirrely indeed. And then,
Yep.
car just veers off to the right.
Yeah.
Looks like suspension, could be wheel, though.
Yeah, you know, I drive these cars quite often, and I mean, I hit a lot of things, so yeah, that's definitely could have been a suspension or something with the wheel. Cars are very, very fragile for being a bodied car, so.
However, someone will stop him making a pass. Saviera gets himself back up into 10th position in spite of hitting a wall on the previous lap. Here's over Mizzou. Is he under pressure from Gilad Hashika? Looks like he is. Hashika might fancy his chances here and making a move into Sunset Bend, one of the more difficult places to make a move on this racetrack. By the looks of things, he's going to be sensible about it and send one down the inside. Is there a chance to set up a run as we go through into turn 1? He takes a wider line, swoops all the way around the outside. Actually, that's very brave. Does it yield in a better exit is the question. By the looks of things, it does. And I think Gilad Hashika is going to fly on into 5th position here as he goes into 6th position, I should say, as he goes down the inside. It's all about the braking now as we go into turn 1. Puts the brakes on and cuts him off. It's perhaps a little bit aggressive, perhaps something that a set of stewards would have a problem with. However, he has got himself up into that position.
Yeah, you need to find the fine line of being aggressive and conservative, and that wasn't a place where these drivers have been battling the whole race, and when you get a chance to make the pass, you got to go for it. I mean, whether it's the right or wrong move, I mean, you got to make the move to make the pass, and it's able to get around him for 7th. So, oh, here comes a big send, maybe. Oh, see, that's what you call a good fake move. I do that all the time. You always pull a fake move, hoping they're going to let you by, but this time it didn't happen.
I'm glad you've said that, because part of my colour commentary playbook is the old, you've got to make them know you're there. It's an old go-karting trick. You do a little bit of a bump on the back of the car. Let them make sure they know, always under pressure, always breathe down their neck. And that's exactly what Mark Zubrev is having happen to him. I think it's Yossi Gabay who's the car just behind him. And, well, he seems to be coping with the pressure reasonably well right now. It won't be long before he finds himself having some side-by-side action, I am sure. But certainly in terms of body language of those two cars, I think Mark Zubrev is perhaps looking a little bit more pace. We've got 7 minutes left in this race. There's plenty of time to make a move around Sebring. Pretty much everywhere is an overtaking opportunity. Is this corner going to be an overtaking opportunity, though, for Yossi Gabay as we go down into the hairpin, put the brakes on. Mark Zubrev goes a little bit deep. That might allow Yossi Gabay to get the little over-under, and it's exactly what happens. He pulls alongside. However, Mark Zubrev seems to find some pace on exit from absolutely nowhere.
And now they're at the part of the track, Tom, is where you just hold the wheel holder wide open. Then when you get to the corner, just hold on tight. Just make sure you can get through it. It's a very sketchy part of the track. Goes a little wide. They both did, but able to maintain clearance. You got to use up the whole track here, especially at Sebring. The best drivers are the ones that can use as much of the track as possible without getting it off track. And both these drivers are doing very well at that.
And well, Zubrev is continuing to feel this pressure as we go out of Le Mans for the I think it's the 8th time in this race. Is it? It is. It's lap 7, so seventh time in this race. And it's a good exit for Yossi Gabay, who's going to try and get to the inside here, down into Sunset Bend. He's got the overspeed, he's got the slipstream as well in the very, very powerful BMW GT3. To the inside he goes, screaming into Sunset Bend, and Yossi Gabay gets that position finally. It's a textbook move into Sunset Bend, but he might have gone a little bit deep, and he has gone a little bit deep. That allows Mark Zubrev to say thank you very much and go back up the inside and get that spot as we run down into turn 1.
Yeah, you're going to put that in the notebook to not try that one again. I mean, there's multiple ways, I guess, people try to take that corner, especially on an overtake. But sometimes when you drive it in too deep, that's what happens. You start to push out the corner, and then it got close there. That got really close, Tom. I thought we were going to have a punaroo there.
We almost did, these two showing some fantastic racecraft at this stage. However, We might have to wait a couple of laps to see it again because Yossi Bay has gone onto the grass on driver's right, or the sand, or whatever substance it is there on driver's right. That's just lost him about a second or so, which sees him lose touch with Mark Zubrev, and Zubrev can finally have a little bit of a breather. Someone who can't breathe is going to be Gilad Heshika, who is under a lot of pressure here, or he's putting a lot of pressure, I should say, on Open Mazouz. And as we go through Le Mans, once again, it's going to be pressure enough to perhaps go down the inside into Sunset Bend. You won't have seen the incident that we just saw as there's a car all the way up. That's fast enough. In the background, he's going to go all the way to the outside at Le Mans. We'll see if Gilad Heshika is able to find a way through. He moves late into Sunset Bend, not quite late enough. The space doesn't open up for a pass there, so he'll have to set himself up for a run down into turn 1. The switchback potentially on, although you can't really dictate your line mid-corner through Sunset Bend. As we go out of Sunset Bend, we'll see if Gilad Heshika is able to find a way through. By the looks of things, not quite. Here's Alan Day, 1 second back to the leader. Looks like Alan Day at this late stage in the race is starting to catch.
Yeah, Day is starting to close the gap a little bit. Last lap for our leader was a 2:01.7, and then Day was a 2:01. So got about 0.7 of a second off there. So the gap is shrinking, but you can't go off the track like that if you want to catch back up. But yes, the gap is shrinking. We might be able to see a good battle in our hand. It's 0.6 of a second. I think Gross might be saving fuel or something. I mean, like he's starting really to lose some pace, but these setups, 20 minutes is the distance, so you want to be able to just drive the car as smooth as possible to take care of the tires. I mean, Day is just putting on the pressure and just hoping he sees a mistake in front of him to get around him for the lead. But what a great battle we have for the top position.
We do, and Alan Day does this. You think he's just about out of the race, and then all of a sudden he comes back at you and makes a run for it in the final couple of laps. Already catching about 3/10 on this lap so far, lap 9 of the race. And he'll be fancying his chances towards the end. We haven't got a great deal of time left, probably 2 laps as I have it. It won't be last lap board, it won't be white flag this time. I don't have a last lap board here. It won't be white flag this time by. I would expect white flag next time by. Perhaps, or actually I say that, we're going to be pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be very close, and we'll have to wait and see. Not too many corners away, but Day was able to get around the lap car very easily, and it was almost about a second later. It would have been an inopportune time, so able to get through the lap traffic there from the GT4 class. So. But the gap has grown. It's 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. He needs 2 laps now. He needs to hope that this isn't the white flag board this time by. It might be. We're going to be very, very close indeed. We'll see if they take the white flag on this occasion with just about 2 minutes to go in the race. Is there a white flag out? There is a white flag out. So it looks like Alan Day might find himself losing this race. Meanwhile, Yossi Kabea has got past Mark Zubrev. That was into Sunset Bend. Is Mark Zubrev going to eye himself up for one final attack as we go into the final lap of this one?
Yeah, it's a good chance here with the white flag, 1 to go. With those cars nose to tail. Good defensive move there by Gabe, but able to maintain a good pace here. Might push out a little bit. Great run, but you know there's really nowhere to go unless you have a huge boost of momentum. So just have to wait. I mean, I think your last opportunity to really make the passes on the final straight and try to pull up side by side and just see what you can do. I mean, but they're both in the invert, so I mean they're both going to be in a good starting spot for the next race. But just have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. This could turn into a battle for the win a little bit later on today. As to the inside goes Mark Zubrev. He wants his position. You wouldn't believe it's only for 7th position. He really, really wants it. He's held it for most of the race. And now Yossi Gabe just pipping him to the post as it stands. 40 seconds to go in this one. 35, I should say, to be exact. And these two pretty inseparable at the moment. Zubrev goes to the inside once again, showing his nose at every possible opportunity, but nothing quite sticking for him yet. Yossi Gabe, however, is getting a little bit squirrely on a couple of these exits, as allowing Mark Zubrev to at least believe that he can find a way through. The good thing about these GT3 cars is that there's no way that tyre wear is going to be a factor in a 20-minute stint. They're able to do an hour easily on a tank, so I don't think Mark Zubrev will be hoping to use a few more of Yossi Gabe's tyres than he was before. Anything like that. We should also be about to see that our leaders are going to cross the line, and this is Reem Gross getting around some GT4 traffic. Is he going to do it in time to get ahead of Alan Day? He will. He wins the first race of the iRacing Israel League Season 13. A fantastic drive from him. Champion Alon Day in second position. Daniel Lerman rounds out the podium. Then it's going to be Nadav Yaron. We need to see Zubrev and Gabe once again because they're virtually side by side from what I can see on the timing screen going into Sunset Bend. Not quite side by side, but Zubrev will try one more dive. He has to get to the inside out of Sunset and try and get that exit to challenge into the turn one. However, as they cross the line, not quite going to be. Yossi Gabe gets that position on the final lap. He finishes in 7th, and now it's just a question of that GT4 field.
Yeah, what a great finish for that GT3 field, but the GT4 cars are, still very close, and the only thing that wasn't close was first in the rest of the field. 10-second gaps for the leader. What a clinic! But a lot of these drivers learned a lot from this race. We're gonna take those notes from this race into the next one. So, put on a clinic, but if you want to do it again, pressure's on.
Well, Aviv Cohen has got a bit of a lonely ride out here. He's 10 seconds to the good and half a lap down for the GT3, so you've got to wait a moment for him to cross the line. But what a drive it's been from Aviv Cohen so far today. He's absolutely been the class of the field in these GT4s, and it will be exciting to see what he can do when the grid gets reversed.
Yeah, there's only 3 drivers in the GT4 division that were able to get to the 2-minute and 11-second time brackets. So he's not like he's on another planet. He's beatable, so anything can happen on the race. But yeah, gonna come to win the race number 1 by that 10-second gap. Tom, what a phenomenal drive.
Absolutely unbelievable drive from Aviv Cohen, who's a little flush of the headlights as he gets over the line. It's a victory in the GT4s, and well, second place will be Yehuda Ben Yosef. He's coming around Sunset Bend right now. We're exactly 10.6 seconds behind. Then it's Arnon Levy, not too far back, and to finally round out the grid is going to be Surek, one of our new drivers to the series. At least I didn't see him in season 12. We go straight to the grid for the next race. I'm not too sure if we'll get a chance to confirm the results or if it will be straight away the grid for the next one. And well, it will be the grid. So here we go then. We'll run through this before we get a word from Avery ahead of this race 2. It's Mark Zubrev and Yossi Gabe on row 1. Their battle in that previous race, absolutely fantastic. This one will be just as interesting. Tal Stern and Emir Meshulam on row 2, and Nadav Yaron and Daniel Lerman row 3. Then it's Alan Day, Reem Gross row 4, Yuval Marek and Arnon Levy on row 5. Aviv Cohen starts on the pole for the GT4s. Yehuda Ben Yosef alongside him on row 6. Then it is Levy in 13th position. I have to say, having a little bit of a difficulty reading who's in 14th. Garley, there we go. Then it's Ben Surek and Ofer Mazuz on row 8. Gilad Hashika and Fashinov on row 9. Eden Sher and Orin Kaida row 10. Aviad Yamakuv and Asav Yaron rounding out your grid. Avery, we're about to get going, so I'll quickly ask you one word: who's going to win this one?
I think Day's going to make the drive from 6th place to 7th place to win this thing. He showed a lot of speed. We'll see what he can do. Pace car ready to pull off.
Here we go then. Ready to get going. Zubrev and Gabe ready to commence round 2 here in the iRacing Israel League in round 1. It's a poor start from Yossi Gabe from 2nd position. Flying through his Tal Stern as they go down into turn 1. Yossi Gabe really caught napping at this early stage in the race. And is there going to be a challenge for the lead? As is that Tal Stern going through to the lead of the race into turn 1? By the looks of things, it is. What a fantastic start, but Zubrev tries to come back and it was down the inside. He goes to try and get the lead of the race back. They're side by side, and they will be as they go up into the hairpin just behind Yaron and Gabe. Yaron getting up into 3rd position. Zubrev gets to the lead. However, there's a little bit of contact between them, and oh my word, it's a mess of cars off. Zubrev and Stern making contact. Zubrev goes through into the distance. 4/10 of a second is his gap, and well, by the looks of things, Tal Stern is going to lose out on another position here. Tries to get himself back into 2nd, and by the looks of things, into turn 7 they go. He's going to have a good chance of doing exactly that, but that was a manic start.
Yeah, very crazy start. You get that with the invert, but I love the invert. Gets a good chance to see some good passing. We had the best start so far, up 3 spots. That's day. Really good start for him. You got to make passes on the first lap if you want to make a drive from the back of the field, and that's what he's done. Up into 4th, needs to make some more moves to get up at least into 2nd, I think, to really to get that cleanish air.
Daniel Lerman has had a major incident on the course of this first lap. He falls all the way down into last position overall, 22nd and last. Alon Day gunning for the podium as we head up into Sector 3 for the first time in the 20 minutes race 2. He's got Tal Stern, who did lead this race for all of about 2 corners at the start of this lap, and as he tries to get a better exit out of Le Mans, it looks like he might have had a cleaner racing line. So let's see if this turns into Alon Day trying to make hay. Well, the sun still shines a little bit here at Sebring, right in the sunset portion of the day at this track, and Alon Day is going to get to the inside. He won't quite make the pass just yet, though. However, that overspeed on the outside line is absolutely incredible. Alon Day so late on the brakes, so confident on the brakes. However, a little bit of a snap halfway through the corner just ruins his chances of getting into this podium position.
Yeah, a little bit of incident there on that first lap complete, but man, what a good drive by Dave. But you got to make some moves, and there's your race winner from the last one up to 5th. So I mean, we'll just have to see, man. Like, these 2 guys are the fastest in the field, but they're in 4th and 5th. Are they going to try and race each other for that 4th spot, or just going to try to stay in line, try to move up the field? Because every time you start battling side by side with someone, where do the people in front of you go? Further away.
Exactly that. Mark Zubrev under pressure from the lead. This time it's from Yaron. Would you believe it? Well, it's pretty incredible stuff. He's really keeping himself busy all race long. Is Mark Zubrev, and Yaron will now fancy his chances of getting the lead of the race. He'll go to the outside line this time. Switch to the inside line. It's a dummy move from Yaron, who gets to the lead of the race. That is one of the most fantastic things you're going to see tonight. A dummy move for the lead of the race, and in the background, Tal Stern is going to get passed by Alon Day.
Yeah, what a really good move, but sometimes you don't want to show your hand too early, so we'll see. But Alon Day up into the 3rd position now has a good opportunity to try to move up a little bit more. Last lap was, a little bit slower, but when you're battling side by side, you're going to get slower laps. So. Well, last lap was the lap number 1. This track is so long, Tom, so it's like, man, is that lap over yet? No, they're still halfway through the track, but we'll see what they get when the time comes up to the timing and scoring. But if you're Alon Day, you're where you want it to be.
And now back on board with Yossi Gabay down in 7th position, as you alluded to. A little bit of a frustrating time for him so far in this race, working that wheel so hard through Sunset Bend. Under a little bit of pressure from Anon Levy just behind as well. As we look further forward in the field then, as 8/10 of a second through the lead, as we do look further forward in the field, but this time it's the GT4 field. It's a battle for the lead, and Yehuda Ben Yosef has that lead at the moment in 1st spot. Anon Levy in 2nd, and Aviv Cohen down in 3rd. All 3 of them having a bit of a battle, a straight fight for that top spot in the GT4s. And, well, by the looks of things, despite being under a lot of pressure, as to the inside goes Aviv Cohen, despite being under a little bit of pressure, Yehuda Ben Yosef is holding on for the time being.
Yeah, Cohen put on a really good run, sitting in the P3, just trying to, not really forcing the issue, just trying to see when the good opportunity is. The big thing racing with these GT4s, since it's really momentum based, you're just really hoping the driver in front of you makes some mistakes. So the constantly you push somebody, the more they're looking in their mirror going, I can't screw up, I can't screw up. So we'll just have to see. Here he goes. Oh, that's a little fakey move. Like I said earlier, he pulled a little fakey. Hope someone lets you come by. But
oh dear, it's close between the 2 of them. However, it's Aviv Cohen who can't quite find a way through, and now into 4th place. Into 3rd place goes Heschke, trying to get his way through on the outside line this time. Just a bit of overspeed and help from the car ahead. But here goes Cohen back down the inside line. A mistake as well from 2nd place out on Levy. This is helping Yehuda Ben Yosef. What can Heschke do? He looks to the outside line, trying to switch and slide all the way around the racetrack. He can't quite get to the outside line. and it looks like Arnon Levy, Yarin Levy, I should say, gets held on to second position. Now, Heskett has to turn attack into defence because Aviv Goin is just behind him and trying to attack for the lead of the race, for the podium once again.
Speaking of the podium, 2-second gap between Ben Youssef and Levy. So I mean, that's who's smiling right now. But back up to these GT3 classes, you have Gross got over Elon Day. So man, this is. Let's see. We take a look back at the replay of that.
Wim Gross is going to the outside line and trying to find his way through in the 44. And it looks like it could end in tears, him and Alan Day. Not very easy to get past Alan Day, who breaks very late, but then makes a mistake mid-corner into turn 1. That's going to send him all the way into the grass. Does he hold on to it? He does. And, well, I'm not a huge iRacer myself. However, I do know that the grass in iRacing, once you're on it, it's very difficult to make sure you get off of it without hitting a wall in the process. So that's pretty good from Alan Day.
Yeah, the car was a little unsettled going into the corner, and with the update to the grass, it's a little bit easier. Oh, off track. 32. Oh, that's. Ooh.
So he's being lapped in the GT4, so not a major drama. I mean, more the fact that he gets through people. There goes Tal Stern. Not quite at the heights that he was on lap 1, and under a little bit more pressure this time. From Arnon Levy, who's back to the outside line, will try and force his way through. Stern looking to hold on to this. Levy is on the inside line and makes a fantastic move. He completes it on the brakes. Is he going to complete it? They're still side by side. He hasn't completed it just yet. Into Le Mans they go, and it's Tal Stern who holds on to the spot. Entertaining little scuffle between the two of them that once again isn't over yet because it's a mistake from Tal Stern that's going to invite Arnon Levy alongside up into Sunset Bend. Mark Zubrev having a fantastic view of this battle. Through into turn 17 we go, and on the outside line is going to be Arnon Levy. Gets through, but does he go into the wall in the process? He does. It's a mighty whack. Diffuser off, car around, and oh, GT4 almost hitting him.
Yeah, what a battle going into there, and just we have a good replay here. We'll see what happens a little bit better. It's just such a tight spot in the track, Tom. It's just unfortunate that they put the extra tire barriers there, because if those weren't there, he probably would have been okay.
Yes, and there we go. Just a frustrating moment for him. And will be very frustrating. By the looks of things, he's into the pit lane, crabbing quite dramatically. I mean, I've been in that wall quite a few times in my life, at least on the sim. And yeah, it usually does have that effect on people. Here's Gilad Hashika trying to get himself into second position. It's ahead of Arnon Levy. I apologise, it's Heshka. I make that error quite a lot. He's to the inside line, gets himself into second position, and is able to get through as well. In the background, then it's Aviv Cohen trying to get himself up into third place. He gets onto the podium, does he? Or is there going to be a move around the outside from the other Levy? It's not. So Aviv Cohen stays in third, or gets up to third, I should say. That's a lovely little move. I also want to keep an eye on the battle between 4th and 5th in the GT3 classification. These two pretty close to each other as well.
Yeah, really put on a good run. These two drivers are. Their last lap really good in the 2015s. I mean, within a half a second what the lead cars are doing. So really have really good pace. And with the halfway point, if Day makes a little bit of mistake, they're going to close up right on the final spot on the podium. So it's kind of just got to dig deep. If I was in the driver's seat, I probably wouldn't be trying to make an overtake unless there's a mistake like that a little. But like I said earlier, the more you battle, the further the cars ahead go. So we'll just have to see. Best time so far was just set by our leader, Uran, with there's a 2-minute 0.7 or 0.7. Excuse me. Yeah, numbers are hard, especially when you're an American like me. So yeah, really good lap by Uran. So starting to pull away, clean track. Just runs consistent with a 2-second gap. I think you'll be okay. But if the gap shrinks, you get a little nervous. Cabay hard into the wall, though.
Well, that would make me nervous, to be honest with you, going face first into a wall on driver's left out of that corner. What happens here? I dare say, looks like there might have been contact between these two. We'll see. Oh, it just goes deep into the corner. And I'll tell you what, that's actually okay driving, because he's slammed on the brake to try and avoid collecting a car in front, and he's almost sacrificed himself rather than sacrificing both of their races. So all in all, Yossi Gabay, not the most horrendous decision making.
Absolutely. Drivers will remember that when someone makes that mistake, does that behind them instead of running them over and ruins their race. People will remember that. So, I mean, that's a respect thing too. You know, I don't want to take the car out in front of me, you know, because that's not how, you know, most people race. So yeah, he just kind of took a little bit of a time penalty, unfortunately, because he spun because of losing that time. But man, really good driving so far for this group of drivers. It always has been for the races I've watched from before. So I'm not surprised at all, Tom. But this battle for 5th position here is starting to heat up.
It is, and well, it's Al Stern trying to hold on to that 5th position. I think he would have fancied his chances at the win, as I mentioned a little bit earlier on, but obviously that not quite materialising. 5th position, still a pretty mighty run for him, all things considered, but Mark Zubrev isn't going to have him that easily inside of his Pro Class debut, as they apply the throttle out of Sunset Bend. As I said, looking at Sunset Bend, you can see why it's called Sunset Bend. Al Stern holding on to the spot for the time being, and by the looks of things has Mark Zubrev's number on the brakes as well. But out of the corner, Mark Zubrev is a rocket ship. That's interesting. Alon Day, he's lost a position and his name is red on the timing screen. That's why Alon Day's crashed and is out of the race. And this is a rather dramatic and rare incident from the series champion of, I believe, the last 3 seasons. Does he go deep on the brakes? He does. He's been looking pretty squirrely throughout most of the race, hasn't he, Alon Day? And he's going to get collected. That's netcode, I believe.
I don't like the netcode. A lot of time wrecks are happening, whether there's netcode or not. Have to take another look at it.
Wreck. There certainly wasn't contact on my screen between the two of them, and I'm not sure.
Right.
And yes, that certainly looks like it is netcode, for better or for worse. So, well, you can make of that what you will. However, Alon Day is out of this race. Probably the big news from all of this, that your series champion, 4-time Euro NASCAR champion, might be getting that number wrong, I believe it's 4, is, well, having to spectate the rest of this one with 6 minutes to go. That's a shame, because he really looked like he was possible for a winning run today, and it's just not quite materialized.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, we were alluding to earlier. Just gotta be, big send. Ooh, that could have been a little bit of contact. That was a let's just say send of all sends that did not work. Now the gap's 1 second.
Well, there you go. Mark Zubrev is making a bit of a mistake. Aviv Cohen is planted into a wall, I believe, and that is his run also over. Is it? No, he's not. He's back going again. Was planted into a wall on my screen for a moment, and then all of a sudden he comes back and pops himself back onto the racetrack.
I think it might have been a little connection,
yes,
internet connection issue. So. That's happened to me a couple times, Tom. When you're in a race and you blink out, you're like, okay, please come back, and then usually for me I don't. But he was fortunate to come back and is up in 2nd place. So
yeah, the worst one is when you happens in a 24-hour race at 2 in the morning and you think, oh no, that's my run over. Then you find out it was the entire server that was was breaking down. Had that happened to me on more times than I'd like to recall. It's a battle for 4th position between Galili and Levy in the GT4 class, and Galili is going to get to the inside line and try and make a run through into that 4th position as we go down into turn 1. And what a run He's got the overspeed. Has he got the speed to go down the inside as Lerman gets past Yossi Gabay? Galilei go to the inside line, is cutting that track very fine to the left-hand side wall. However, it is Levy who holds on.
Yeah, Levy was able to get a good run out of the corner. So, but here's Lehrman, who, if I remember right, was in that first lap incident. So, up into the 6th position, really good run for him to battle and, to really not give up. And it's easy to, when you're in a race, you wreck on lap 1, just say, I'm done with this. But he's like, no, I'm just going to keep going, and up into the 6th position. So, really good battle for him as he battles with Gabay for 6th position. Woo! Gabay gets loose coming out of the final corner. Saves it,
mate.
but... Ooh. Ow.
Yeah, it's a fantastic save. However, it's not the fastest in the world. So points for style, I'm afraid to say. Not many points for much else with that incident. Fair play to Yossi Gabay for making the save, though. It's not easy to do. 8 tenths per second in between our leaders, and the other battle I'm keeping an eye on is Eshke against Cohen. 6 tenths per second in that scrap for 2nd position. If you recall, round 1 last season, we had an identical finish in one of our races. I think that would be rather dramatic and unlikely if it were to happen again here, but never say never. Certainly, Ream Cross will be looking to make it 2 from 2, and at the moment his pace is suggesting that this could well and truly happen.
Yeah, last lap was about 7 tenths of a second quicker. So, I mean, it's definitely possible with the... if history tells us if it repeats itself, it'll be the white flag this time by. So, remember last race, Day had a big run with 2 to go, and it fell away. So we'll see if Gross can learn from that mistake from the driver behind him and catch up within 6 tenths of a second now. So this is where you're going to gain your time up in the toll.
It is, and we're going to be heading into what is the final lap of the race. 18 minutes on the clock, which means with 2-minute almost exactly lap times, that it's going to be one more chance, or it will be one more chance for Ream Cross. We'll see if he's able to get this position and the win of the race. That is crucial. There is GT4 traffic as we take the white flag just in front of our 2 race leaders.
Yeah, definitely with the traffic. If you're on, you got to get to him clean. You got to get by him, and hopefully it's on corner entry so he can get through and Gross gets stuck behind him. But 4 tenths of a second here, you cannot make a mistake on this final lap.
Nadav Yaron needs to get past his GT4 traffic quickly. It's only 3 tenths per second in between himself and Ream Cross as we go down into the hairpin for the final time in this race. Is there going to be a chance for Gross to send one down the inside? Yaron is holding on. There's more GT4 traffic just ahead. He needs to get past it almost immediately. Holding on right now. There's a little bit of a slide. This is going to allow Ream Gross, who gets past it a little bit more cleanly, to catch right up. And Nadav Yaron holds on for the time being, but it's only 2 tenths of a second now. It's going to be so close. Ream Gross will look to the outside line, perhaps, as we go now down into the right-hander. More GT4 traffic. This could be the loser of the race for Nadav Yaron. He's got to be sensible. He's got to be smart with how he gets past, and thankfully, the GT4s are playing ball. There'll be one more chance for Ream Gross to try and get through. It'll be down into Sunset Bend, you would think, unless he's a little bit audacious and goes for it. Here he does. It's a dive bomb on the final lap of the race. Not successful into turn 15. Now we go into Le Mans corner, one of the fastest, and it's a mistake for Nadav Yaron. Ream Gross slides up the inside line and is going to get himself into the race. Contact between the two of them, and it's Ream Gross who goes spinning off to the side of the road. Nadav Yaron is going to win the race. It's disappointment for Ream Gross. They were side by side. An inch wasn't given, and in the end, it's just a little bit too much, and they collide with each other. So Nadav Yaron will get the win for now. Stewards perhaps will have something to say about that at the end of this one, but at least on track for now. And Nadav Yaron makes it his first win of the iRacing Israel League season. Yuval Marek will finish in 3rd. It's Ream Gross who's able to at least finish in 2nd. And Avery, what's your take on that one?
Well, I mean, before the straightaway, Yaron kind of took the normal line and Gross kind of sent it in there pretty hard. So he probably wasn't a big fan of that. Uh, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in a position of administration. Once the
I'm
GT4
here.
cars go through, we'll get a good look at that, Tom. So, but Ben Youssef put on a really good run, 1.5-second gap over Cohen, and Cohen had a couple mistakes that might have cost him to get a little bit closer, but uh, so really good run for the top three in the GT4 division.
Yes, and well, it looks like Heskett is going to find himself in third position. We'll see what he can do. No traffic involved in this one. He'll be a second, though, at the last opportunity. I mean, what mistake for Ben Youssef, and all of a sudden he finds himself losing this race. So we're going to wait and see. This is going to be interesting as we go into the final few corners, 15 and then 16. I think Aviv Cohen has done enough here for second position. I think Ben Youssef has done enough for the win of the race, but Sunset Bend is well, not to be taken lightly. Very, very difficult corner. Lose your braking zone, and all of a sudden the race win is gone. Let's ride on board with your race leader as he goes down the straight for the final time in this race. Can't see much in that rear view mirror, I have to say, and look at that, blinded by the sunset as he goes through. He will hold on by 7/10 of a second out of Sunset Bend. It's going to be Yehuda Ben Youssef who makes it a win here in round 1 of season 13 of the iRacing Israel League. Fantastic drive from him, a good run for the podium for Heskett as well. And as we cross the line, everyone else very celebratory of all of that. Over Mazouz will be the last one, and then we're going to get a look at what happened between our race leaders in the GT3.
Yeah, still a real phenomenal race. I mean, here's the replay.
We'll see, it was a dive to the inside for Gross. That's okay, perhaps a little bit aggressive, but all is fair, especially on the last lap. Then he goes to the inside. It was a bit of a mistake for Corby. Now, for my liking, that's fair right there. However, then I think he thought he was clear. Either that or they both just made the slightest correction into each other.
Yeah, no mistake for Iran. That's kind of the line, is to go out like that and get that hit the apex in the corner. And yeah, I'm glad, like I said earlier, I'm glad I'm not a steward. I'm an admin in a NASCAR league, and those calls are a little bit easier sometimes. But yeah, man, just a really, really good race overall, though. Really good passing, both race 1 and race 2. You've seen it wasn't just follow the leader, so it was really, really good race, though, Tom.
Absolutely fantastic race, and here are your results for the feature race. So we call it the feature race. It's just race 2 here in the iRacing Israeli. Nadav Yaron gets the win. Ring Gross put him pretty close at the end there, but in the end it's second place for him. Yvonne Marek makes up the rest of the podium. Tal Sterner, Daniel Lerman, your top 5. Good run for Tal Sterner as well, actually. Mark Zubrev, Yossi Gabay, Amir Meshalam, and Anon Levy are the rest of your finishing GT3 field. Yehuda Ben Youssef takes the win in the GT4s. Then it's Aviv Cohen and Gilad Heskett, the podium. Yarin Levy and Bertie Galili, your top 5. Idan Sher, Ofer Mazouz, Asav Yaron, and Oren Kedar, your page 1. Then it is Ivo Fasinov, Aviad, Yarmakuv, Alon Day retiring from the race, as well as Benny Turek. So we're just going to have a little bit of a check to see if we've got any interviews. I don't believe the drivers are particularly chatty in this league. They don't tend to be, Avery, but we'll give them a couple of minutes as a courtesy. I just want to get your final thoughts. Round 1 of last season delivered an absolute cracker. That was at Road Atlanta, and round 1 of this season delivering an absolute cracker as well. I have sort of joked about this league before and how how much they love American tracks, but I can see why.
Oh, I mean, American tracks are they just have just a feel about them. You know, you go to like Daytona Road Course, pretty easy. Indy Road, a little weird just because it's all flat. Sebring, all flat. But you know what's not all flat? Next week, not next week, 2 weeks time is Laguna Seca. I mean, that's not a flat track. So, yeah, in 2 weeks time we'll be there. But man, this was a really good race. And with a good racetrack, I think the GT3s and the GT4 cars with a 20-minute gap you just see a little bit of lap traffic. So it's kind of just, the class, kind of like their own like single class. But I mean, yeah, there's 2 on the track, but really impressive run for all these drivers here. And I can't wait for in 2 weeks time, we go to Laguna Seca because these drivers always put on a show. And I don't think that's going to change.
And well, I'm just gonna wait for word in my ear from producer Louis that we're good to sort of outro here, because I don't think we've got any interviews coming up, and indeed we have the calls. So from round 1 of season 13 of the iRacing Israel League, we thank you all very much for watching. An absolute cracker of a race. Thanks to Avery McDonald for joining me. I've been Tom Dillon. Louis Araya has been on the production. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the Laguna Seca race in the iRacing Israel League.